Hey guys! So what I wanted to give you was a video about reviewing the wink and showing you how pretty this chart was and getting everybody really excited to start figuring out their own vagina science. But the truth is that my life is really stressful right now and it has drastically impacted my cycle. This is one of the worst charts I've ever had by a long shot. I spotted a whole bunch, including weird mid-cycle heavy spotting that I've never had before. I didn't ovulate until at least cycle day 29. Weird, difficult to interpret cervical fluid at various points where it's like not creamy, but not really sticky, but also not really there, so we just didn't do anything for a long time. And all of that made the pill look really appealing. The truth is that there are problems that come with fertility awareness, and sometimes when things aren't going as well as they could, it can be really tempting to choose something else. So instead, what I thought I would do is stop and reflect and really think about why I've decided to chart and why I've decided to stick with this for the last almost 2 years. And I had some charting experience before that as well. So without further ado, here we go. 1. The side effects of birth control were unacceptable to me. I have been on various versions of the pill, the patch, Implanon before it was Nexplanon. I've had 2 IUDs, and all I've gotten from all of them are depression, weight gain, breast tenderness, random bleeding, mood swings, an increase in my generalized anxiety. I expelled an IUD. They made me nauseous. I developed an allergy to adhesive from having the patch on all the time, which is really inconvenient when I have to go to the hospital and get an IV now. All of these things super sucked, and the entire time that I was having problems with them, the only thing the medical community would tell me is that I would adjust, or they could give me something to help deal with the emotional side effects, but I don't think that I want to go on antidepressants just because I don't want to have children and because artificial estrogen makes me kind of nuts. That doesn't seem fair. That was the main reason I quit birth control. I was not willing to live like that anymore at all. I'm willing to work with my body if it's having a difficult time. I'm not willing to subject myself to endless misery because the burden of reproductive health is on me. 2. My body is not my enemy. Instead of trying to force my body to behave differently so that I wouldn't have children, fertility awareness gives me the tools to work with what's already happening. I don't have to change anything about my biology. I don't have to change anything about myself. Other forms of birth control made me feel like I was at war constantly. Whether it was trying to force my ovaries to just not do the things that ovaries do, or if it was trying to rein in the side effects, or if it was anything. The entire time I felt disconnected and awful, and like my body was kind of out to get me. And the paradigm that you're not being responsible about your reproductive health unless you're on some kind of birth control only made that a lot worse. Because if I was doing the right thing and I was this unhappy, what was my life going to be like forever? I wasn't really looking forward to brief periods of time of trying to get pregnant to feel normal. And on the flip side, when I started charting, I felt super connected and good about my body. I understood what was happening. I understood why it was happening. I could use that information to achieve my goals. I could use that information to look at other aspects of my health. This month, when I realized that I was stressing about the wedding so much that I wasn't going to ovulate and I was spotting all the time, I made it a point to set out blocks of time to do more self-care and to eat a little more and to make sure I was hydrating. And all of those things eventually led to me ovulating. Now, I probably would have ovulated even if I hadn't done those things, but being able to recognize that I'm in a time of increased stress and respond appropriately has done really good things for me. And with that, how I feel about my body overall has changed a lot. There's parts of me that I still don't necessarily like individually, but this whole thing works. Everything works here. It's all more or less doing what it's supposed to. There are some problems with it. I'll probably be breaking out like a champion for the next 6 months, but it's mine. And after being sexually assaulted, I felt especially disconnected from my sexiness. I didn't feel particularly desirable. I felt kind of dirty and gross and wrong. And seeing things work and getting all of those artificial hormones out of my system and learning about the subtle things that my body does made me feel a lot better and a lot more desirable. And I gotta tell you, there's nothing quite like phase 2 sexiness. Like, damn. 3, I like being in control. Call me a control freak. I can't control if a condom is gonna break. I can't predict ahead of time if I fucked up taking the pill. I can't tell you if my IUD is going to expel. I was super surprised to find that the second time that it came out. But I can tell you what the risks are of me getting pregnant on any given cycle day based on the information that my body is giving me. So if there is a risk to be taken, I'm still the one deciding what that risk is and if it's worth it to me. It can be frustrating because I do tend to get really frisky in phase 2 and there's egg white cervical fluid just pouring out of me and we don't want a baby right now. But I would rather deal with those frustrations than wondering if a condom had messed up while I wait for my period to mysteriously show up at some point. Like this month, because I didn't ovulate until cycle day 29, I'm probably not going to get my period until about cycle day 41, if my luteal phase is as long as it usually is. It might not be. If I hadn't been tracking, I would have been really concerned. I would have started freaking out somewhere around cycle day 33, because 32 is the long side of my normal. And then I would have taken a bunch of pregnancy tests, and then I would have gotten myself even more upset, and it would have been really bad. I've been through that before. At least with fertility awareness, I can go, okay, the risks of getting pregnant right now are very low, or high, or not at all. And then I'm the person that makes those decisions. And on the flip side, no outside force is going to be the thing that's determining if I can chart. My insurance company can't tell me not to check my cervical fluid. My pharmacy can't randomly decide to switch me to a different generic. If we move, I don't have to worry about getting a new doctor. All of this is just going to do what it's been doing, and I can continue to be the person that's in control of what's happening. And 4, fertility awareness is inexpensive, portable, and can be adapted to all phases of life. 1, for most methods outside of the initial investment of maybe an app and a thermometer, you can continue indefinitely. You might have to replace batteries in your thermometer. If you decide to go with a different method like Marquette, it can get really expensive really quickly, but it doesn't have to be that. Compared to having to get my prescription filled every month or having to get it undergo getting the Implanon switched out every 3 years, which really isn't all that much, but it's still something. I don't have to worry about artificial hormones affecting my ability to nurse my future children. I don't have to worry about detoxing from hormonal birth control when we decide that we want to have children. I don't have to wonder if this is maybe menopause coming, because I'll see my charts starting to change. Fertility awareness is about your whole system through every phase of your reproductive life, and I think that's kind of excellent. Instead of shutting it down, we're acknowledging what it is, and we're addressing it, and we're accepting it. Alright, those are kind of a quick synopsis of some of the reasons. Everyone's journey as to whether or not they decide to chart and how that process goes for them is different. Leave me some of the reasons you chart below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you like what you see, hit the like and subscribe button. There'll be more in the future. Thanks for watching.